Hello there, kia ora. While Chippy is getting engaged, congratulations by the way, the coalition is continuing to disengage from the public, and we have the data which backs that up. The way the polls are trending at the moment for the coalition resemble a third-term government, and one that's on its last legs, gasping for fresh ideas and lashing out at people who don't agree with what it is that they're putting out there. But those polls generally focus on a simplified question, a variant of if an election was held today, who would you vote for? And that's fine, but as we all know, the factors that lead to an answer someone might give that question are just as important and usually a lot more complex. And that's what the IPSOS Issues Monitor looks at. Since 2017, the Issues Monitor has polled people on the issues that they see as important and which party they feel can best deal with those issues. And this week, we saw their October data released. In it, respondents identified the cost of living, healthcare, and the economy as their top three issues. But there's also some other fascinating insights in the data. Concerns about poverty and inequality are now matching concerns with unemployment, showing that the two are connected in the minds of voters. The issue of racism and race relations is the highest it's been for the entirety of the coalition's term, which is a feat in itself. It found that unemployment had jumped to the second most important issue for young people from fifth place. This backs up Stats NZ data released earlier in the month showing the shrinking job market disproportionately impacts young people more than other age groups. For older respondents past retirement, healthcare continued to be the most pressing issue. And statistically, this is the age group most likely to need to access our healthcare systems. Respondents were also asked to rate the performance of the government over the past 6 months, and the coalition scored the lowest rating here ever recorded on the poll since it began. And when it came to these top issues, respondents that decided on what I mentioned earlier, well, Labour topped their perception of who's best to deal with them in most categories, like tackling the cost of living and fixing healthcare. The surprise here, though, is that they've now surpassed National on dealing with the economy, and they've continued to make gains on National in the one area that National did do best in the poll in, law and order, where National have been steadily declining in the public's perception for over a year now. And here's where context matters in polls. It's really easy to present data and go, here is the data. But there's actually a couple of elements here that hasn't had an impact yet on this particular poll. Labour's CGT plan and their policy announcements on health, like the CGT funding ring-fence for primary healthcare, a wider range for free cervical cancer screenings and ring-fence GP funding set outside of Cabinet. The polling period itself finished just 2 days after the Labour CGT announcement, long before the cervical cancer screening announcement. So the ripples of that would not have had a major impact on this report's results. But 2 polls run since the CGT announcement, one from the non-regulated TPU Curia poll and one from the industry-regulated Talbot Mills poll, has shown Labour increasing in popularity since the announcement. And the Herald ran a Kantar poll released on Monday that showed an even split for and against a CGT, with respondents more positive on it once they knew that the details were out there and how it was going to ring-fence funds for primary healthcare. The final bit of fascinating data, though, from the Issues Monitor was a simple question. Do you think the country is going in the right direction or the wrong direction? It's fascinating because, generally speaking, since the question was introduced, the majority of respondents have always said it's going in the wrong direction. But this is the second highest ever percentage of people who feel this way, behind last month's response, which was 1% higher. Media is really good at setting narratives. That Herald headline I mentioned before that I showed on the CGT, that's a great example of it in action, because while the country may be split on CGT, there had been a negative element added from a right-wing media source, where they could have said, but more in favour when linked with health spending, or, as they mentioned in the article, the margin of error grows when the data sets are shrunk by region. And headlines and news stories are well-used tools for distilling information. But sometimes details are in the weeds, and they tell us some more fascinating stories that can help shape our perspectives when it comes to deciding who to vote for in 2026. Hey, thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. While you're here, why not hit that like button or share the video or even subscribe to the channel. You could even become a paid YouTube member so you can see things released in advance, you get access to some exclusive content, and like all these awesome people, you get to have your name at the end of the credits as well.